Good day, everyone, and welcome to part 3 of my complete Doctor Who DVD series overview. We're still in the Hartnell years, so now we're taking a look at, well, really 3 DVD releases, but 4 stories, and yes, just as in the previous video, Planet of Giants was just looked at a few weeks ago. In the case was with my previous video, but I've decided in order to sort of get a complete sort of comprehensive overview, there we go, of all the releases. I'm doing everything that's available, at least right now, from beginning until end. So briefly, Planet of Giants, as I said in the previous video, this is probably one of my least favorite Doctor Who stories. This is more or less for completion's sake. But even bad Doctor Who stories are still redeemable, and I'd still enjoy watching this than a lot of what passes for entertainment today. But Planet of Giants, just a basic 3-part story, and I believe this is the only one, they mentioned this in the documentary, where pretty much the entire production crew, behind the scenes production crew, has passed away. Obviously the cast is, well, half of the cast is still around. But anyway, so Planet of Giants, yeah, somewhat of a lackluster story. They get shrunk, there's big matchboxes and bugs, and my camera is still being grumpy. Sorry about that. That's showing up in pretty much every video. Yeah, I desperately need to get a high-definition camera, but that's another story altogether. So Planet of Giants, okay story, but if you're looking for an introduction to the early Doctor Who, I wouldn't really recommend starting with this one, because it might actually sour your view towards the rest of the series. But switching from that one to the next one, we actually go to from probably the weakest of the Hartnell to what is considered by many to be one of the strongest stories of his run. This is the Dalek invasion of Earth. This release has been out for about 10 years. It was actually the second Hartnell to come out, and really one of the first ones to actually have a decent selection of special features as well. I'd say with the re-releases, you're probably guaranteed at some point this will receive a re-release, but it's the current version is not up on the list of releases that are being taken out of circulation, so that's a good thing. But anyway, so here it's a follow-up to the Dalek story of the previous season. This one is a much stronger story, I think. Also, this has got kind of iconic images of the Daleks going through 1960s London, which they shot on location early on a Sunday morning. So that's some of the most iconic images throughout Doctor Who is kind of the scenes from this episode, and they have a number of special features on this one as well. This was one of the first, I think maybe the first double disc release to come out in Region 1. This came out, if I remember correctly, the same day as the original release of Talons of Wang Chang, which was also an original 2-disc set, which has since been re-released, although I don't actually have the re-release of that one, but I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. But anyway, so here on the back you can see that's an iconic image right there. Probably one of the most iconic in the history of Doctor Who. I used to have a desktop of that picture on my computer for ages. But anyway, so yeah, Dalek's invasion of Earth. This also sees the first departure of one of the Doctor's companions, in Susan, played by Caroline Ford. So this sort of begun the kind of companions coming and going. She was originally portrayed as his granddaughter. There was never actually a lot of background history given to that, which is, I kind of like that. Sort of keeps the mystique of the Doctor, the mystery going. But anyway, so yeah, and then we start seeing a replacement of characters, which we see in the next one, which sadly, this is one of those that I covered in my video a few weeks ago that is being discontinued in Region 1. Which, I guess kind of sucks, but maybe this will come out again. So this is what they've done with a couple of the Hartnell releases. Some of those that they think may not sell, they'll just lump 2 of them into one release, which I guess, saves the money. They don't have to put out 2 separate releases just in case it bombs. But in this one, we have the rescue and the Romans, and this double story, or 2 episodes, or the first one, sees the introduction of Vicky, who came in to replace the character of Susan. So we see the first introduction within the series of a new companion, other than obviously an unearthly child. But in here, so this one, just a basic double disc, 1 disc per story. It's got, your usual assortment of features, but here this is another example of the rescue, science fiction type, sort of in the science fiction range, and then you've also got the Romans, which is another historical. So kind of 2 examples of the historical and the science fiction, which made up William Hartnell's time. As I said in the previous video, his 10 years as a Doctor is really characterized by a mix of science fiction and historicals. But by the end of Patrick Troughton's first season, they had gotten rid of the historicals just because they found they just weren't as popular as the science fiction stories. But it's, I guess kind of a way, almost maybe kids were seeing the show as educational, which may not be a good thing, so they just dropped the historicals. And in terms of flow, the historicals tend not to move quite as quickly as the science fiction ones, which are science fiction stories, which, maybe another explanation for that. But anyway, so this is the end of my Doctor Who Complete DVD series overview. So the end of part 3, and hopefully very soon I will have part 4 up. So other than that, as always, thank you everyone for watching, and have a wonderful day.